In this section, you define resources involved in delivering IT support services in this area. Most resources in this area report directly to an internal IT group or HRIS support department. To complete this section, click the Add New Resource button. This will activate a row into which you can enter data. We recommend that you try to use job descriptions that are meaningful rather than using names of individuals. For example, under the employee field, you may enter IT specialist. The position could be the exact same, IT specialist. Then enter the number of hours this particular resource spends per year in this HCM area. Then enter their salary or annual pay. Remember that for this study, we consider an employee who is full-time to work 2,000 hours. Notice if you enter 2,000 hours, the system calculates the FTE allocation to be 1 and calculates their cost based on hours worked and their annual rate of pay. Next, you will click the Tasks button. A list of common tasks in each area will expand, which allows you to identify the percentage of time based on their allocation to the area is spent in each task. This takes time but is extremely helpful when evaluating ROI components and how services and systems directly affect resources. If several resources do similar activities, you can group those resources on one line to make it easy. For example, let's assume you have 5 offshore programmers at different satellite locations that do miscellaneous time card administration. Each of them spends about 10 hours per month doing that activity. I would click the Add New Resource button. Under Employee, I would type 5 offshore programmers. I would probably call them the same under Position. I would multiply 10 hours by 5 resources and put a total of 50 hours. Then I would add an average salary for those 5 individuals. Let's assume it's $77,000. Notice that the FTE total for those 5 individuals is 0.025 and the cost is adjusted to $19.25. Then you can do a task list for the entire group. It does seem redundant to have an employee field and a position field, but there are certain cases where both can be used very effectively. As a final training tip, it is very common, especially within smaller organizations, to have the same resources listed in multiple areas. A database administrator may spend 50% of their time doing HR administration, but they may also have 50% of their time in benefits administration. You would simply take the percentage of the individual's 2,000 hours and add a row for the person in each survey section. Here's how that might happen. In the HR admin survey, I would have a row for database administrator, and 1,000 hours representing 50% of his or her time would be entered. In benefits administration, I would have the database administrator with 1,000 hours, 50% of her time there. I would simply do a task list in each area so that I have a full understanding of effort and work being performed in each area by the database administrator.